Most people think of Volkswagen reaching 500,000 miles as unrealistic. They hear stories about expensive German engineering, complicated electronics, and repairs that spiral out of control the moment the warranty expires. But that belief doesn't match reality. Across the world, there are Volkswagen owners quietly driving their cars far beyond 300,000, 400,000, even 500,000 miles. And some are pushing towards 700,000 miles on their original engine and transmission. These aren't miracle cars, and these owners aren't lucky. They simply follow a set of habits that most drivers ignore. The difference between a Volkswagen that becomes a money pit and one that becomes a lifelong machine comes down to discipline, awareness, and understanding how the car actually works. What you're about to hear isn't theory. These are proven habits used by experienced Volkswagen technicians and high-mileage owners who have already done what most people think is impossible. The foundation of a long-lasting Volkswagen begins earlier than most people realize. It starts in the first 1,000 miles of the car's life, a phase known as the break-in period. During this time, the engine is not fully finished in a mechanical sense. The internal components, piston rings, cylinder walls, bearings, camshafts, are all settling into their final wear patterns. This process determines how efficiently the engine will seal, how much oil it will consume, and how evenly it will wear over hundreds of thousands of miles. Yet most owners treat this period casually, using cruise control, maintaining constant speeds, or driving either too aggressively or too gently. What the engine actually needs is variation. It needs controlled changes in RPM so the piston rings can properly seat against the cylinder walls. Constant RPM prevents this from happening correctly, which can lead to long-term oil consumption and reduced compression. During these early miles, the goal is balance. You want smooth acceleration, letting the engine move through different RPM ranges without pushing it to redline. Keeping RPM below roughly 4,000 is a safe guideline, but equally important is avoiding lugging the engine, driving at very low RPM under heavy load. That kind of strain creates uneven pressure on components and causes premature wear. Another step that most people skip is early oil changes. Changing the oil at around 500 miles and again at 1,000 miles removes microscopic metal particles created as parts wear into each other. These particles act like sandpaper inside the engine if left circulating in the oil. Removing them early dramatically reduces long-term wear. It might seem excessive, but it's one of the simplest ways to extend engine life before problems even have a chance to begin. Once the break-in phase is complete, the next habit that separates high-mileage Volkswagen owners from everyone else is what many mechanics call the 5-minute rule. Modern Volkswagen engines, especially turbocharged ones, operate under extreme heat and pressure. The turbocharger itself spins at incredible speeds, often exceeding 100,000 RPM, and reaches temperatures that can surpass 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. When you shut off the engine immediately after driving, especially after highway speeds or spirited driving, the oil stops circulating while the turbo is still extremely hot. That heat gets trapped, cooking the oil into sludge and carbon deposits. Over time, this damages bearings, clogs oil passages, and eventually leads to turbo failure. The solution is simple but incredibly effective. After any drive longer than about 10 minutes, let the engine idle for 3 to 5 minutes before shutting it off. This allows the turbo to cool down gradually while oil continues to flow, carrying heat away from critical components. It's a small habit that takes almost no effort but prevents one of the most common and expensive failures in turbocharged engines. Equally important is how you treat the engine when it's cold. Cold oil is thick and doesn't flow efficiently, which means critical components aren't fully lubricated. Pushing the engine hard during this phase creates unnecessary wear. Instead, drive gently for the first few minutes, allowing the engine to reach proper operating temperature before demanding full performance. Fuel choice is another area where small decisions compound into massive long-term effects. There's a persistent misconception that using premium fuel in a Volkswagen is optional or even unnecessary. The reality depends entirely on the engine design. Many turbocharged Volkswagen engines are engineered to run optimally on premium fuel with higher octane ratings. The engine's computer is calibrated for this fuel, allowing for more aggressive timing and efficient combustion. When lower octane fuel is used, the system compensates by reducing timing to prevent knocking. While this protects the engine in the short term, it leads to higher operating temperatures and increased carbon buildup over time.
Carbon deposits are a major issue in modern direct injection engines. Because fuel is injected directly into the combustion chamber instead of over the intake valves, those valves don't get cleaned by gasoline the way they used to. This allows oil vapors and contaminants to stick and bake into hard carbon deposits. Over tens of thousands of miles, this buildup restricts airflow, reduces efficiency, and leads to rough running or misfires. Using the correct fuel helps minimize this process. If your Volkswagen is designed for premium, consistently using it isn't just about performance, it's about preventing long-term damage. On the other hand, if your specific model is designed for regular fuel, upgrading to premium won't provide benefits, so it's important to follow the manufacturer's guidelines rather than guessing. Transmission maintenance is one of the most overlooked aspects of vehicle longevity, largely because of misleading marketing. Many Volkswagen models are labeled as having lifetime transmission fluid, which gives owners the impression that no maintenance is required. In reality, no fluid lasts forever. Transmission fluid breaks down over time due to heat, friction, and contamination. As it degrades, it loses its ability to lubricate and maintain proper hydraulic pressure, which leads to increased wear on internal components. By the time symptoms like slipping or harsh shifting appear, significant damage has already occurred. The habit that high-mileage owners follow is proactive service, replacing transmission fluid every 40,000 miles, regardless of what the official schedule says, dramatically extends the life of the transmission. This isn't just a simple drain and refill, since that only replaces part of the fluid. A proper service involves a full fluid exchange, or multiple drain and fill cycles, to ensure most of the old fluid is removed. Using the correct Volkswagen-approved fluid is critical, as these systems are highly sensitive to fluid specifications. This single habit can mean the difference between a transmission lasting the life of the car or failing prematurely at a huge cost.
For vehicles equipped with DSG dual-clutch transmissions, this becomes even more important. DSG systems rely on precise fluid properties to operate correctly, and skipping the recommended service intervals is one of the fastest ways to destroy them. Regular fluid and filter changes every 40,000 miles keep the system operating smoothly and prevent overheating, clutch wear, and internal contamination. It's not an optional service, it's essential if you want the transmission to last hundreds of thousands of miles. Another critical area that demands strict discipline is the timing system. Many Volkswagen engines use timing belts rather than chains, and these belts have a finite lifespan. Unlike many other components, a timing belt doesn't give much warning before failure. When it breaks, the consequences are catastrophic. Because Volkswagen engines are typically interference designs, the pistons and valves occupy the same space at different times. If the timing belt fails, they collide, causing severe internal damage that often totals the engine. This isn't a repair, it's usually the end of the engine. Preventing this comes down to timing and planning. Replacing the timing belt before it reaches its maximum interval provides a safety margin that protects against unexpected failure. At the same time, related components like the water pump, tensioners, and pulleys should be replaced together. These parts wear at similar rates, and replacing them all at once avoids repeat labor and reduces the risk of a secondary failure shortly after the main service. It's one of the most expensive maintenance items, but it's also one of the most important if your goal is extreme longevity. Carbon buildup, as mentioned earlier, is another long-term challenge, especially in direct injection engines. While it can't be completely avoided, it can be managed through driving habits. Engines that spend most of their time cruising at steady speeds are more prone to carbon accumulation because the conditions allow deposits to form and harden. Introducing periodic higher RPM driving helps counteract this. When the engine is fully warmed up, accelerating more aggressively and allowing the engine to reach higher RPM ranges increases airflow and temperature, which helps reduce deposit formation. This practice, sometimes referred to informally as an Italian tune-up, isn't about abusing the engine, it's about using its full operating range in a controlled way.
Oil maintenance is another area where consistency matters more than anything else. Volkswagen engines, especially turbocharged ones, place significant stress on engine oil. Heat, pressure, and contamination all degrade oil over time, reducing its effectiveness. Sticking to regular oil change intervals, using high-quality oil that meets Volkswagen specifications is non-negotiable if you want the engine to last. Extending oil changes to save money often leads to sludge buildup, increased wear, and long-term damage that costs far more to repair. Checking oil levels regularly is equally important, as some engines naturally consume small amounts of oil over time. Cooling systems also play a major role in longevity. Overheating is one of the fastest ways to damage an engine, yet it's often preventable with simple maintenance. Keeping coolant to the proper level, using the correct type, and ensuring that components like the radiator, thermostat, and water pump are functioning properly helps maintain stable operating temperatures. Even small issues, like a failing thermostat or a minor coolant leak, can escalate into major problems if ignored. Driving style ties all of these habits together. Smooth, consistent driving reduces stress on every component of the vehicle. Aggressive acceleration, hard braking, and constant stop-and-go driving increase wear on the engine, transmission, brakes, and suspension. While occasional spirited driving is beneficial for engine health, constant abuse accelerates deterioration. High-mileage drivers tend to develop a rhythm, anticipating traffic, maintaining steady speeds, and minimizing unnecessary strain on the vehicle. Ultimately, reaching 500,000 miles in a Volkswagen isn't about one secret trick or a single breakthrough. It's the result of dozens of small decisions made consistently over time. Every proper warm-up, every timely oil change, every careful choice of fuel, and every proactive service adds up. The owners who achieve this level of longevity don't see maintenance as an inconvenience. They see it as an investment that pays off over years and hundreds of thousands of miles. The truth is, Volkswagen vehicles are fully capable of extraordinary longevity. The engineering is there, the potential is there. What determines the outcome is the owner. Neglect and shortcuts will shorten the lifespan dramatically, while discipline and attention to detail will extend it far beyond expectations. A Volkswagen can either become a costly burden or a reliable machine that serves you for decades. The difference isn't built into the car, it's built into the habits of the person driving it every day.